Syria welcomes the setting of a date for the Geneva II conference and confirms its participation with an official delegation that is provided with President Bashar al-Assad's directives. Lavrov affirms Geneva II will be held without preconditions. The Syrian Arab army destroys terrorist hideouts and eliminates scores of them in Damascus suburbs Homs, Idlib and Aleppo. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. An official source at the Foreign and Expatriates Ministry has expressed Syria's welcome of the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's step in setting January 22, 2014 as the date of the convention of the Geneva II conference. Syria, the ministry says, reiterates its intention to participate with an official delegation representing the Syrian state, provided with the directives of President Bashar al-Assad, the President of the Republic, and conveying the Syrian people's demands, particularly regarding the elimination of terrorism. The ministry refers to the statements made by the French, British and some Arab foreign ministers that there is no place for President al-Assad during the transitional stage, reminding them all that the age of colonialism, when governments are appointed or deposed by the colonialist forces, is gone forever. If those sides insist on their illusions, the statement adds, then they should spare themselves the trouble of attending Geneva II, because the Syrian people would not allow anyone to steal their exclusive right to determine their own future and leadership, as the basis of Geneva is to meet the interests of the Syrian people only, not the interests of those who shed the Syrian blood. The Foreign Ministry asserts in its statement that the official Syrian delegation is going to Geneva not to hand over authority to anyone, but to work with those who are keen on the Syrian people's interests and who support a political solution to make Syria's future. The words and deeds of the stooges of the colonialist West, the Foreign Ministry stresses, do not deserve to be commented upon, as our people have rejected them after they had called for American military intervention in Syria and after shedding Syrian blood. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and his Italian counterpart, Emma Bonino, have welcomed the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's step in setting the 22nd of next January as the date of the Geneva II conference. During a joint press conference in Rome, Lavrov said, "By the time the conference is held, attempts will have been made to convince the states that refuse to participate in the conference to change their mind." Bonino, on her part, has announced that there is no alternative to a political solution to the crisis in Syria, voicing her country's support for the efforts aimed at holding an international conference on Syria in Geneva. In a joint press conference with his Argentinian counterpart, Lavrov stressed the need to hold Geneva II without preconditions, adding that the circumstances of holding the conference are not ideal. The sides that try to set preconditions for Geneva II, Lavrov said, seek either to postpone it or to foil it. He said, Moscow will try to consult with all Syrian sides, adding that discussions are being carried out with the various sides of the opposition on the question of hosting a meeting for the opposition. He pointed out that all the opposition groups Russia had contacted expressed interest in taking part in such a meeting. Welcome back. In a series of a military operation against the terrorists in Damascus countryside, Syrian Arab army units maintained full control on the farms of Ain al-Bayda to the southwest of Qara after eliminating the last terrorist gatherings there, destroying their weapons and ammunition. Syrian Arab army also targeted several terrorist gatherings in Manshiyat Khan al-Sheikh, killing 9 terrorists. In eastern Ghouta, Syrian Arab army units killed many terrorists, including Abdel Ghafour Darwish, leader of the so-called Al-Qaqa battalion from Al-Nusra front in the town of Al-Nashabiyeh, where the Syrian Arab army tightly encircled the terrorists following the tactic of the battle, foiling all their attempts to infiltrate into some areas where they may open gaps to break the siege, despite their being heavily holed up in the area. An ammunition warehouse has been seized in Bayadir Nader in Damascus suburbs. The warehouse, which was used by terrorists in a farm, contained several mortar shells, missiles launching podiums, Israeli-made Lau rockets, Russian rifles, RPG shells, Israeli bombs, a compass, and large quantities of explosive devices to trap cars. The warehouse also contained highly dangerous chemical materials. A military source announced that the Syrian Arab army eliminated an armed terrorist group during a highly successful operation against their dens in 9 different towns. The Syrian Arab army eliminated members of an armed group in the surroundings of Al-Kindi Hospital, the central prison, in addition to the neighborhoods of Bustan al-Qasr and As-Sukkari, destroying cars loaded with weapons and ammunition. Our armed forces foiled an attempt by an armed terrorist group to break into secured areas in Al-Amiriyeh and Salah ad-Din, killing scores of gunmen. In Idlib, units of the Syrian Arab army targeted an armed terrorist group which was trying to dig a deep tunnel south of Al-Khansa school in Ma'arrat al-Nu'man, killing and wounding scores of them. Units of the Syrian Arab army eliminated armed terrorist groups southeast of Babhoud neighborhood and in Al-Qarabis in the city of Homs. An army unit foiled an attack by 2 armed terrorist groups on the water unit and the national hospital in Taldaw village, killing all their members. Another army unit clashed with terrorists who tried to attack the citizens in Kafarlaha village, killing most of them. Another unit of the armed forces inflicted heavy losses upon terrorists in Sheikh Ibrahim al-Hakim and Khalij Kisin areas who were smuggling ammunition from Al-Rastan to Al-Hawleh. In Homs countryside, units of the Syrian Arab army ambushed an armed terrorist group, killing all of its members in Hanura, east of Al-Furuqlos. The armed group was trying to smuggle weapons and ammunition across a dirt road. The ambush resulted in destroying a huge truck loaded with tons of ammunition, in addition to destroying a pickup car and a motorcycle used by terrorists. In Iraq, 11 people, including policemen, were killed in separate attacks, 2 of them suicide bombings in Baghdad and Al-Ramadi. An Interior Ministry source said that gunmen assassinated 5 people of the same family in their house north of Baghdad, while 2 people were killed and 3 others injured as an explosive device blew up in Ad-Dura, south of Baghdad. In another attack, 4 policemen were killed and 11 others injured in 2 suicide attacks in Al-Ramadi, west of Baghdad. Meanwhile, 14 unidentified bodies were found north and south of Baghdad. Suffocation cases have been reported among dozens of Palestinian female students during confrontations with the Israeli occupation troops who had targeted Al-Zahra school with gas bombs in Al-Khalil, Hebron, in the West Bank. Clashes have also erupted in the area between Palestinian young men and Israeli occupation soldiers who fired gas and sonic bombs as well as rubber bullets at the Palestinians. Back to our local news, the third Autumn Exhibition 2013 opened in Damascus today in Bassam Hamsho Secondary School with the participation of Minister of Culture, Dr. Lubana Mshaweh. More than 100 artists and painters took part in the exhibition, which presented modern techniques and styles in the field of visual arts. Dr. Mshaweh stressed that the exhibition reflects the strong will of the Syrian artist to confront all difficulties by showing firm belief in the creative role of art in building societies. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Vani Gunjan, but after a short break. For the Geneva II conference and confirms its participation with an official delegation that is provided with President Bashar al-Assad's directives. Lavrov affirms Geneva II will be held without preconditions. The Syrian Arab army destroys terrorist hideouts and eliminates scores of them in Damascus suburbs Homs, Idlib and Aleppo. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yarado Krikorian with the news in English. An official source at the Foreign and Expatriates Ministry has expressed Syria's welcome of the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's step in Syria welcomes the setting of a